Which is the most fun class in World of Warcraft Dragonflight? As a new or returning player, choosing the best class can be tough because there's so many options to choose from nowadays after all. I know there's probably a lot of you guys out there scratching your heads asking yourselves the question, which class in WoW is the most fun to play right now? And also, how would I even determine such a thing? Well, I have good news for you, weary traveler. What I have done in my free time is I have created a fun 4-point test to help determine the most enjoyable class for you based on your unique likes and reasons for playing the game. I call it the FPFT, the 4-point fun test. Check this out. What I have here are all the classes in World of Warcraft laid out before your hungry eyes. And what we're going to do is subject them to these series of little tests to see which of them truly reigns supreme as the most enjoyable to play in this expansion. The first test will judge these classes based on a variety of playstyles. The second, how well they fit into the current game's story. The third will be a test of reputation. And the final test, the ultimate test, well, we're going to reveal that one with the end of this video. So let's put our contestants to the challenge, shall we? With the first test that they must undergo, and that is simply this. Test number 1. Our first test is relatively simple. If you're going to play World of Warcraft, you definitely are going to need a variety of choices to choose from in terms of playstyle. So for this section, we're going to eliminate each class in front of you that cannot fulfill at least 2 roles in a dungeon or a raid. That would be tanking, healing, or DPS. That way, if you were to get bored of one type of play style, you can always just switch to another one because the best class certainly can't just be locked behind one way of playing the game, right? So that said, let's go over our class contestants and say goodbye to the following. So sorry rogues, warlocks, hunters, and mages, but all of you guys are off the list. You all might be cool in your own unique ways, and Mage, you might have won the last class test video I made, but right now, you guys just are not up to par for the FPFT. Sorry, fellas. Also, bonus points to Druids, Monks, and Paladins too. These guys can fulfill 3 roles, tanking, healing, and DPS, so if you get bored of, let's say, that second role, you can always choose a third one. Now for our second test. If you're gonna have the maximum amount of enjoyment playing a class, it of course needs to fit into the storyline of the current expansion somehow. Otherwise, you're gonna end up like a Death Knight in Mists of Pandaria wondering, how the heck did your character even get here? And why the heck should they even care about what's going on? So which classes currently fit into the lore of Dragonflight? Well, I would say the following. The first would be the warrior, because Beowulf is the prince of all warriors, and he's a dragon slayer, so being a warrior in this expansion, it fits beautifully. Druids, Ysera, the green dragonflight, the emerald dream, anyone? Come on, druids definitely fit in. Priests, because the expedition to the Dragon Isles is gonna need healers, right? Come on, it's what priests are known for. Shamans, elementals out of control, primal dragons, sounds like a job for a shaman, right? Shamans finally getting some love. Evoker, because come on, evokers are dragons, and it's the Dragon Isles, all right? Of course they fit. Some of the classes that we've already eliminated certainly fit within this expansion, but unfortunately, they're already off the board. So with our expansion fitting classes now known, we gotta eliminate the following. Number 1, sorry Death Knights, but it's an expansion about dragons and rogue elementals. It's not really your thing. Demon Hunters, you guys most certainly don't fit in this expansion. Really, these guys have not fit in anywhere since Legion. Monks. As much as I'd like to say that maybe a lot of monks would travel to the island to have a drink with some dragons, it's kind of a stretch, so we're not gonna have monks on the list here. And lastly, paladins. I love paladins, but unfortunately, there's no violators of the light when it comes to the Dragon Isles. There's certainly room for maybe some paladin healing when it comes to the expedition to a new land, but kind of like the monk, it's a little bit of a stretch. So if there was some undead walking around, I'd keep the paladins, but unfortunately there's not, so oh well. Things are certainly heating up though. Let me tell you what, I can already smell the rage in the comments section, and this video ain't even edited yet. But let's not get us but let's not let ourselves stop here. We've got 5 classes remaining. Test number 3. Now, if you're gonna have fun playing as a class, you need to of course be playing a class that everybody loves and enjoys, right? A fan favorite type of class, if you would. So that said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna eliminate any class that's, well, not so beloved by the community for one reason or another. We don't want to play a class that, if you decide to play one, you're going to be mocked for doing so in any way, shape, or form. Instead, you want to find yourself warmly welcomed into any group you join. So unfortunately, we're going to get rid of the following classes. Number 1, Shamans. I'm sorry, Shamans, but your entire class is pretty much a meme since Classic WoW. I love Shamans, but unfortunately, we're always underperforming. We're always complaining on the forums. Blizzard is always giving us the short end of the stick. We have not been cool since Classic WoW. I said it! And also, Evokers. I'm sorry, Evokers, but no matter how much you try to escape that furry/scaly stereotype, you're never gonna do it. Trust me, I'm a Death Knight. I play a Death Knight, and I still to this day am called an edgelord and a cringe factory. So sorry guys, but Shamans and Evokers, you guys are off the list. As for our 3 remaining contestants, you can't really complain about either of them. Warriors are beloved tanks and gym bros in real life. Priests, they're the most beloved healers in the game. And Druid players, they always tend to be extremely good at World of Warcraft due to how versatile their class is. And they can also fulfill any role needed in a group. So we've narrowed it down to 3, my friends. 3 classes remain, but only one class can be the best. Only one can be the most fun class to play in Dragonflight. And we're going to find out which of these 3 it is, thanks to the final test. Test number 4. There is only one way to break the tie between these 3 classes. Only one way to determine which of them is the most fun to play as, which of them is the best. And that is simply, of these 3, which would win in a honky-tonk bar fight in the American South? And guys, that's clearly obvious. The priest would get his ass kicked repeatedly. He probably wouldn't be in the bar because he's too holy for that sort of thing. The point is, he'd get his ass kicked even despite his attempts to heal himself. The druid, he would transform into a bear and get himself shot by every redneck hunter in the vicinity. And the warrior, despite enduring cuts and bruises, he would likely be so drunk on Woodford Reserve and so enraged by the fact that that steamy night elf babe in the corner stood him up for playing the overcompensating wiener class.
Ooh, that's kind of small. Yikes.
That he would end up beating the living crap out of every person in that bar, all before kindly paying his tab and tipping the bartender generously. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. That settles it. The warrior is objectively the best and most fun class to play in World of Warcraft Dragonflight. Sorry, other classes, but maybe someday you guys can be as cool, Chad, and awesome as the beloved warrior. Or you guys can just play the Death Knight, aka the true best class in the game. Right, guys? Guys? Oh.